Hello. So today we are going to see how the simple past tense works in negative and interrogative forms. Our previous video was about the simple past in the affirmative. But today we are going to see how the simple past works with the negative and in the an interrogative. And there is one thing that I want to point out to you first. When we deal with the simple past tense and when we deal with the simple present tense, we have to consider that in the huge world of verbs, we have a special type of verb, which is the verb to be. On the one hand, we have the verb to be, I am, you are, he is, she is, in the present. I was, you were, he was, she was, they were in the past. So the verb to be. And there are other verbs. So in the world of verbs, we have the verb to be on the one hand, and on the other, the rest of the verbs. Hundreds of other verbs: dance, play, study, teach, run, jump, cook, sleep, read, etc., etc. I say that the verb to be is special because it does not need any other verb. It does not need any helping verb. It does not need any auxiliary verb to work. The verb to be simply works with no help. It works in the affirmative, in the negative, and in the interrogative form. The other verbs need a helping verb to work in the negative and in the interrogative form. For example, negative sentences. Verb to be. I wasn't tired yesterday. You weren't happy yesterday or last week. He wasn't in London during his last holidays. They weren't at school yesterday, or they weren't at school on Sunday. You see, the past tense of the verb to be, was, were, in the negative, they simply play with the particle not, and they say, I was not tired yesterday in the contracted way. I wasn't tired yesterday. You were not happy. You weren't happy. But I insist on this. The verb to be works alone, with a little bit of a change in the negative, which is the addition of the negative particle, but it works alone. No help at all, and you have the negative idea. The same happens in interrogative sentences, that is to say, in questions. The verb to be, was I a teacher 40 years ago? Was I? No, I wasn't a teacher 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I was at primary school. Were you at home yesterday? Were you at home yesterday? No. Was he in London during his last holiday? Was he in London? Yes, he was, or no, he wasn't. Were they at school on Sunday? Were the children at school on Sunday? Yes, they were, surprisingly enough. Or simply, no, they weren't. You see, the verb to be play in the interrogative way now, but it doesn't need any other help. It doesn't need any other verb to play that role, the question role. However, when we talk about some other verbs, for example, drive, swim, travel, go, etc., we do need the auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb corresponding to the simple past is did. So if we have to negate, if we have to work with negative ideas, we say, I didn't drive yesterday. You didn't swim in the river. He didn't travel to London. They didn't go to school. So the verb is there: drive, swim, travel, go. But in order to play the negative idea, they need an assistant, and the assistant is the auxiliary verb did. Because it is a negative, you say didn't, did not, contracted into didn't. Questions. Did you swim in the river? Did he visit his granny? Did he go to school? So we need the did, but in the question, the order is auxiliary verb, person, and principal verb. That is always the order in the structure. Auxiliary verb, person who does the action, and principal verb. But as you see, the verb is swim, visit, and go. And we don't say, you swim in the river, he visit his granny. No, no, no. You need another verb, which is the auxiliary one, in order to play the interrogative form, in order to make the question. So remember, the order is auxiliary, person, and principal verb. But we need the auxiliary verb in the interrogative sentence. So, all in all, just to revise a little bit, we have to consider there are two types of verbs: the verb to be, and when you play with the negative form and the interrogative form, the verb to be doesn't need any auxiliary. Then we have the other verbs, and they really need auxiliary verbs to work in the negative and the interrogative form.